general elections, both the ANC and the Democratic Alliance find themselves having to put out factional fires. The ANC hasn't recovered from a bruising national elective Congress in December last year, and the DA seems to be unraveling from a perspective that others are certainly pointing out. The events last week, both in Cape Town and Mahikeng, have proven just how fragile the party's factionalism environments are internally. And joining us in the studio in Pretoria for some analysis now is political analyst Professor Lesiba Teffo. Good evening to you, and thank you for joining us. I suppose let's start in the Northwest. Supra Mahumapelo basically mandashed, reportedly because, of course, he wanted to ensure that he was able to appoint his own successor.
Well, look, there is another in fact, even before I respond to that, let me just preface my input this evening by invoking the name of the late Dr. Alan Patton, looking at what happened today and at what is happening across the length and breadth of my country. Cry the beloved country. Cry the beloved country for the unborn child who is an inheritor of our land. Let him not love the world too deeply, nor be too moved when the birds of his land are crying. It is crying for help, it's crying for intervention. I hope the leadership will do so. Yes, Supra, if you listen to him speak, it's like there was some interaction with the national leadership that he would step down and that he would appoint or nominate an interim person to act during his leave of absence. But the snake seemed to have come to the fore when a name was proposed of somebody by the national executive, which meant they were reneging on the agreement that he would nominate, but they were thinking of doing it themselves. So it does look like the national executive or the top six might have mandashed, or he himself mandashed, but one of the two mandashed. And it does look like both of them did that. And Supra might say, I've been forced to take the decision I did to rescind my resignation, and at the same time to nominate my own, which I think legally is doable, because if he's on leave, he can always ask somebody to act on his behalf. I hear people that there is constitutional crisis and so on and so forth. Perhaps it's about how long, and that is not taken care of. But if he's indisposed, then I'm sure he can ask somebody to step in and do the job on his behalf.
Debate, Prof, has been the reasons that need to be given for him to be indisposed, and that he can't just simply vacate office for as long as he likes for reasons that are not specifically provided for in law. But let's talk about some of the politics of the situation. I mean, are we seeing a province of the ANC in effective rebellion here? Because, of course, Supra Mahumapelo has long been understood to be a strong man in that province, with many in that PEC leading various municipalities. Is that effectively what we are seeing?
Look, he's a strong man of the Northwest, indeed. Some would even ridicule him and say he's the Jesus of the Northwest. I'm not for that label, but all I know, he's not a lightweight. And he has entrenched himself as by the culture of the ruling party through patronage. It is he found it and he perfected it. And he's saying, yes, kick me out, but the people on the ground, they want me. There may be a group that doesn't want me, but you can't say it's holus bolus. There are those who still want me, and I have reason to serve them as I am a deployee. But if I'm called upon to step down, yes, I will step down. But for now, I am not going anywhere. And is there a rebellion? Maybe they are daring the top leadership. And the top leadership also, much as it can act, is very worried that the election is almost well and nigh, is around the corner. And what would happen is that others might work against their own party in order to ensure that it is weakened at national level. And I think you and I know that is part of the strategy as mooted somewhere in the KwaZulu-Natal province, that we don't worry about 5 years, it is nothing. We must just sustain the pressure as a small group, gain traction, and people will join us, and in 5 years we can be back. So the epicenter being what it is planning and plotting, and I'm sure he's saying, yes, kick me out, but I know where to go, and what I will do with others. He said, in the next 18 weeks, I will be going from one branch to another to tell them why I was kicked out. And there is this perception, this argument that he advances. Money was used to buy people, to rent people to rise against me. And it was not an authentic, genuine protest, but it was a sponsored, rented crowd that was made to project an image of somebody unwanted, incompetent, and incapable to run the province.
Well, it's not only the ANC that seems to be in some crisis in the Northwest. The Democratic Alliance is having its own issues. Patricia de Lille still insisting that she is the mayor of Cape Town, at least until tomorrow when the court makes its decision about the recent developments in the party. And I suppose as we round up this discussion, Prof, people are looking to leadership in both parties. President Ramaphosa has been decidedly silent in recent days about the Northwest, and so is the leader of the opposition, Mmusi Maimane, about the ructions in his own party. Where does that leave voters with an election projected for next year?
Yeah, I think they are all both circumspect, because they understand this is a delicate period, and it's all about the numbers. Who wants to alienate the voters? Either when I take action against the Lille, it's likely to have an impact in electoral terms. So it is the case with Supra. But at one stage, they both will have to bite the bullet and ensure that the right thing is done. And I often say, the sooner the better, so that you can work on healing the wounds and bridging the gaps and ensuring that you cement at least the bond with those who are still willing to work with you. And I think the time is not there, but the little that is still left, people can still say, you have begun to do the right thing, you are on a proper trajectory, you are engendering confidence in trust, maybe, yes, you are still worthy of our consideration.
Well, we'll all see how it develops in the coming days. Political analyst Professor Lesiba Teffo there in our Pretoria studios.